Welcome to Immigrant Bazaar podcast, a weekly podcast where we talk about topics that matter to immigrants living in the country. We bring guests that can share their knowledge and expertise on the subject. Your host for today's podcast, myself, Bahram, and
Anlar.
And
topic for
Gulshanbek.
and Gulshanbek. Welcome, Gulshanbek. Topic for today's episode is how to start a career in IT. And for this exciting subject, we have, like already mentioned, Gulshanbek. Gulshanbek is an experienced IT career coach and brings valuable experience in the industry and has interesting facts and knowledge that he would be looking forward to share today. That said, Gulshanbek, we welcome you to the show and we look forward to hear from you a lot. And hopefully everybody who's listening and watching is going to enjoy the show. Gulshanbek, welcome to the show. Please give us a background about yourself. Thank you.
Sure, yeah. It's a great honor to be here, and thank you for inviting me for your podcast. My name is Gulshanbek. I am from Central Asia. I migrated to United States 10 years ago, and my goal was to gain my master's degree in political science. And my background is I graduated from International Aalto University from English Language and Literature department. And I totally transitioned my background into IT over the years. But I'm a drop-off, so I dropped off from the master's degree due to financial problems. As you know, it's hard for every single immigrant to complete education in this country due to the high tuition and the living cost. So I ended up moving from, actually I came to Mississippi, Jackson, Mississippi. I spent there 1 year going to the college, tried to pay the tuition to try to make a living by like working small stuff. And then I moved to Chicago. And one day, after a year, one day, one of my friends called and he said, hey, there's a great opportunity if you want, come on over. And there was a small data center where they were not paying well, but they were giving you an opportunity to learn IT. So I jumped on it and I said, I don't care about the money, I want to learn the skill. So that's where my IT background started, where I really learned the Linux operating system, really like tried to work on the hardware of the computer, the servers and everything. Yeah, thank you. That's a little about myself.
That's a great introduction. Thank you, Gulshanbek.
Great. Yeah, I just want to add here this whole subject of immigrants trying to get into IT sector. I think it's a huge topic, and I anticipate that we're going to have several episodes, and this is not the only one.
Yeah,
I think there will be several. So Gulshanbek, don't get surprised if you get another invitation for another podcast sometime in the future. I'm personally very interested. It's very
and Gulshanbek, before the show, you already mentioned you have other connections that will really network that will help us, in terms of kind of expanding the subject, like Anwar was mentioning, expanding the subject to more specific details that hopefully benefit our listeners and viewers. So we look forward, inviting those you and other guests.
Yep.
That will be helpful.
Yeah, and one more thing I want to add. So if you go out, you can find a lot of specialists in computer science, in IT sector, but Gulshanbek was a career coach for tens, if not hundreds of people. So we actually think this is like a perfect profile for an episode like this to give some sort of background on how to start.
Yeah, thank you. I think I didn't mention my professional career and title. Thank you for bringing that up as well. I have been coaching people for over 4 years right now, and successfully helped over close to 100 people to get a job. As we all know, we are immigrants in this country, and we don't know the rules of the game. When we learn something, when we go into the market, we are completely lost, or some people might just basically black out, because we never went through this vetting process. There's several different types of hiring processes where they really put you through harsh and stressed interview processes, and you never know what kind of specific interview processes and questions that they ask. So that's why we came up with a short period class where we help people to learn how to be prepared for the interview and successfully get offer for a job. So that being said, if we have anything else, we can go ahead and start.
I have one quick question before we go. I know you have a presentation that you're going to give us introduction about and discuss specific subjects, the future opportunities. One question in regards to career coach, right? So was it your personal decision? How did it kind of, I mean, initially you started working on you said you started with a data center career, working on getting, from nothing you started IT, it was your own personal interest. How did you feel like, okay, it looks like I know myself, it's about time to teach somebody else, to share the knowledge, to like help people out, because I know the demand for this kind of jobs is only growing and people are getting more interested about this, but it takes time, it takes people to explain the benefit of getting into in IT, and clearly you're one of them who you can coach, you can guide, you can hand people through the process. So at what point you decided to say, okay, I'm going to get to this business now, to this area now?
Yeah, that's a great question. So after my data center job, I received an offer from ITSM, Information Technology Service Management Company. So when I got my bigger and a real job in a bigger market, a lot of people started asking me questions. How was your interview? How you got the job? How is it going? How you are handling it in the real market? Because being an outsider and being an immigrant with a broken English, it's really a big milestone for someone to get a job and to get a life, to get a benefit and get your weekends off. That was a great benefit for us. So you are able to spend some time with your kids. So people started asking me a lot of questions, and after some time, one of my friend, he had a boot camp where he was teaching DevOps, and I went to him and I said, hey, you know what? I'm going to the office and coming back home, sleeping, eating, and my life is getting boring. So can we do something? And he said, yeah, here's the students. If you want, take them and start working. I took some technical classes to teach them so I can be helpful. And to be honest, I was never getting paid for that because I just wanted to help someone because I gained some kind of experience, even though it was short. So after some time, we came up with an idea of, hey, you know what? Why don't we just create one class where you prepare kids, all of these people, to the real market? They are coming out of the college, they are new grads, they are coming out of the boot camps. They want to learn the process of getting a job. That was a great idea. And since most of the people who came to this country are failing in the job market, they don't know the process. And we came up with a project and then, hey, here is the project. Here's what's a step-by-step process, how to get a job. We are going to do theory classes or workshops where we are going to help you step-by-step process of how to get a job. There will be 3 mock interviews. There will be resume profiling, social media presence, and bringing real people from the market, doing one-on-ones, and then organizing seminars, networking events. And then you can really meet with those people, ask all of the crazy or funny, whatever you call it, the questions that's not supposed to be asked. You know what I mean? So that you get comfortable with it. So after some time, it was working. People really started enjoying it, and they started practicing, and offers started coming in.
So I've heard a lot about boot camps, but this is something new. Actually, I didn't know that there was this kind of service, which is really about coaching your career, getting through interviews. So this is very interesting. Do you think there's a lot of these kind of services available these days, or was it just, one-time thing?
There are professional career coaches who really help you on one-on-one based. We did the group thing. Our groups were from 10 to 15 people per group. Since there's more people, it really helps. But on a professional base, there are a lot of professional career coaches on LinkedIn. But they have a subject matter expertise on certain area. One of them is just LinkedIn builder, or one of them is just resume writer. it's hard to find the entire process person who gives you all the different elements of it. Okay.
All right, so we actually have a ton of questions, but I guess going through the presentation will make it a little more structured, right?
Okay.
So I think we can go ahead with that. And
let me go ahead and share my screen then. Just
yeah. We might jump in with questions, clarifications, and things like that. And one thing, Immigrant Bazaar, it's kind of a platform. We have podcasts that are just audio podcasts, but we also have videos. We're going to have videos on YouTube and other social media outlets. So we might be needing to actually explain to our listeners certain things. So we might be interrupting. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Sure. So today we are going to talk about IT jobs and career growth overall, and then I would like to start from the need for the skill. Overall, we will talk about 3 topics here: IT jobs and job forecast, short market overview, and career growth. So let's start from the employment. Early 1700s, whatever your parents used to do, you became that person. If your parents were farmers, or if they worked in the city as a clerk, or whatever they used to do, your kids became and took over the parents' job. It was really hard for someone to change a career. Back then, there was no need for that, because the urbanization, the big cities were far away from the villages and the urban areas, so they kept living in the same place they were born. After 100 years, when we were early 1900s in Europe, the Industrial Revolution started, where we can see from the history that the first recruitment organizations, the recruitment companies started opening up. The need for the people made that companies to start making money. What was the need? The need was to find a powerful man who can work on a big and heavy machineries. So back in that years, the recruiting companies in the cities started to go into the village to take their powerful sons. That's what made people to start migrating to the big cities to gain a better job or a better pay. We will jump to another 100 years. So early 1990s.
One question. So Industrial Revolution basically brought with it urbanization as well. So they went together.
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
So moving forward, as you can see, early 1990s, when the internet was invented and people started using new technology, as we all know, there was a lot of office managers who used to type a lot, right, with old machines. But when the computers came in, the new skills were Microsoft Office, right? Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and every single person who knew those Microsoft Office skills used to put those skills on top of their resume, saying that this is my technical knowledge. And that technical digital revolution erased hundreds of jobs from the market and created the new ones. Today, it has been, 30 years, right? In 30 years, unfortunately, currently we are facing a revolution, which is called AI, artificial intelligence revolution, and afterwards. Today, this AI revolution converted a lot of jobs and started automation process, and then thousands of people start losing their jobs. So looking back to this 200 years, we can see how jobs evolved, right?
So this AI revolution is happening right now. It's not in the future. Is it coming, or it's already there?
It is happening right now. The reason behind is big companies like Google, Amazon, Apple, they already started using this like 5 years ago. All of these voice recognition systems like Alexa, Siri, all of the I think Microsoft has Cortana, I believe, right? All of them has their some type of automations which use back end systems with all the different types of databases which will feed them to properly make decisions. So this is already in place, and this type of automations uh, taking away manual jobs. For example, if there is a person who is copying and pasting, they don't need that person anymore. If there's a person who is typing, they don't need them anymore because you can just say the word and it's typing already, right? Currently in our smartphones, we have a technique of converting your voice into text. It's already available, which is an AI portion of it. Can we move forward if there is any?
Yeah, sure.
So that being said, we would like to learn what's happening and what's trending and what's not. Looking back, all the time, history leaves a clue, right? When you look back, what happened, and then when you want to look forward and you would like to predict something regarding your job or regarding your career, if you are a new person that planning to apply for a college, planning to apply for some type of degree, you want to know exactly what type of skill, what type of job will be greatly fitting for you that will take care of you for your next 10 years or next 20 years. One more thing that I want to highlight is I am a kid of Soviet Union. My parents and their parents, they went to the school, they took one diploma, and they spent their entire life on that diploma. But unfortunately, in today's world, we cannot plan that way. We cannot just go to one college, take one degree, and end our life doing that similar job for 30, 40 years.
Your case was like that, right? Your case, you're a political science major, right? So
yeah, that counts from there too. So unfortunately, in today's world, you cannot do that. I have been in IT over 6 years now, and every single year, if I don't learn something new, I might lose my job, or no one is gonna respect me what I'm doing at my job. You know what I mean?
yes.
So it's every year, so every year you need to find out what's new, what's hot, and keep learning. Like it's constant.
In IT, statistically, every other 6 months, technologies are making a new upgrade. They are decommissioning, basically giving up on certain parts of the technology. The new trending technologies are moving forward, so they need to replace it. If you don't, you will end up like Nokia. We all know how Nokia died, right? The reason behind it is they ignored the moving and evolving technology.
So that actually brings another question. So suppose I got into IT, and I'm very happy. I have a good salary, as you said. You have weekends to spend with the family. But then what you're saying is it probably means that every once in a while I need to sign up for some courses to pick up these new skills, or ask my company to provide that. How do you? Is that the case?
That's a great one. Let's keep staying here on this robot. So the thing is, once you go to certain schooling, once you have certain level of education on certain field, it doesn't always mean that you need to go back to schooling. As long as you know that your path is correct. Let's say you picked IT. Today our topic is IT, so I'm going to concentrate on IT. No disrespect to other field people, because they are doing their job, they are making money on medical field or on law, on politics, I don't care, but our concentration is IT. Once you are in IT, you have the base knowledge. Once you have the base knowledge, you will keep putting bricks on top of it. You don't need to go back to schooling. You just can have some sort of online trainings, and then keep building on top of it. At the companies, they provide a lot of trainings for free. They have, they have a yearly, quarterly training processes. They have certain promotional programs where they keep motivating their employees to learn more. As you keep learning more, as you keep getting more technical certificates, your salary is going to grow, your bonus is going to grow. So it's beneficial for both sides. If you learn something new, your salary is going to go up. If you get new certificate, you are going to get promoted. You know what I mean? So
I understand.
It's very motivational on both sides.
If your company is providing that, that's not a big hustle. Like if you have to pay for courses every year, that's kind of that wouldn't be very pleasant, I guess. But
of course, yeah. Once you are in this market, trust me, as soon as you are following up with the trending tools, you are going to be on top, and your company is going to appreciate that. On my recent role, my VP came to me and he said, hey, you know what? We will start using Microsoft Azure, which is totally new to the company. And he said, you can go and find yourself anything up to $10,000, which means my company is going to pay for it. As long as I'm working for them, they are okay to pay for their own employees to get trained on that. So this is just one example.
So in those cases, you're pretty much starting your skill. You like, let's take Microsoft Azure, right? So you had zero skills on that, and they just they just offer you $10,000. They tell you, go ahead, get your training, and then you will transition, right? It's like basically the expectation is you starting from scratch learning Azure. Let's say you were in AWS, now you're jumping to Azure. So like that's the expectation, right? It's not like, okay, you gotta learn because we gotta keep going on this. So they understand it's a smooth transition from one system to another system.
Of course. So this is how it happens. At the company level, if they are bringing in new technology, they usually go with vendors who has experience and people who can do this. They will bring them in, they will build the system, and then once everything is up and running, company wants to have someone from their own team who can manage this going forward. Because they already invested millions of dollars on this new technology, and then they want someone from their own team to take over the responsibility. So it's like 1 year or 2 year transition, or it could be 2 months transition as well, depending on that. And investing $10,000 or $50,000 on their own employee is nothing, because they are transitioning over the knowledge to their own people.
I really like your analogy of having a foundation, then putting bricks. So going to Bahram's question, if you're familiar with AWS, I guess you have some sort of familiarity already with Azure, like the basics, right? So it probably is not that difficult to pick up.
Of course, companies are not dumb, so they invest on people who actually can pick up on these skills fast. So and on my recent role, I worked as an enterprise architect where not on a daily basis, but every single week I was facing with new technology. That was my job. My job was to research that technology and then research this technology and find out the way how to integrate them. If I don't know that technology, they are going to give me 1 or 2 weeks to learn it. So my job was to learn new things every single week. And they are okay with that. They know that I don't know that technology. So that being said, we can move on with the feature skills. One second. International Labor Organization made a research on the feature skills that will be needed in the future. And it is made out of 7 different fields. The first one is environmental sustainability, urbanization, increasing inequality, political uncertainty, technology change, globalization, and demographics. I would like to, it's all different types of fields. I don't want to go into each one of them, but I want to go into 2 of them, okay? The rest is not our topic. The one is urbanization. More than half of the world population lives in cities today. 70% by 2050. What that means. Today, almost 50 to 60% of the population moved to big cities. I came from the village. My country is one of the countries in Central Asia, and in that country I lived in the village of that country. I wasn't living in the city of that country. From that small country's village, I came to United States top 10 city, which is Chicago. I am part of this research. Now, by 2050, it says the population is going to grow to 70%, which means the skills will be more challenged. There will be more competition. There will be more people like you who would be looking for a job. You better think about it twice or whatever times you need to think about it, and make sure your behavior, your skills, and your job is going to match, and you're going to be able to find a job. The second thing that I want to pay attention is the change of technology in all fields. In agriculture these days, they are using technology, but they are using the technology of 1900s, right? They are using tractors, they are using water systems, but the computer programming and software is not fully taken over in agriculture. Technology is going to go there. Technology is taking over auto industry. Technology is taking over how we live on our daily basis, on our smart homes, on our technologies. Everything is growing so fast. Regarding the technology, I would like to mention three things. Technology is so big, right? There are different fields of it. And the main field that I would like to highlight is three fields. Number one, cybersecurity. Number two, software development, programming. It doesn't matter what type of it, full stack development, backend development, certain programmer on certain language, Python, Java, JavaScript, Perl, or Go, whatever you name it. And then third field is data science. These three fields will never go away. If you will stay under this three and pick something under those three, in the future, you will be safe, and you will be actually employment. You will gain the employment safety for yourself. You're not going to be out of job.
You'll be like updated with the times, right?
Yes.
To go. Yeah.
So let me ask you a question right there, actually. So you mentioned cybersecurity. So clearly, all those have different roles. Like, you were saying with software development, you could be a developer backend, you could do full stack, you could do, data science. So in terms of barriers to entry, right? In terms of like threshold, knowing like how fast you can get a job in any of those three. Like if I'm if I just finished high school, right? I want to be in IT in one of those three. Which one do you think is easier to get in at this point of time? Like easier to be able to manage well and get in and get the job?
As a career coach, I would never suggest this one would be best, because I always try to talk to that person, try to find out that person's behavior, skills, the critical thinking, being able to take the knowledge and then being able to practice it. It depends on every single person, how long it's going to take, how long they will adjust it and own it. It will always change. The reason I'm suggesting three different fields is there are people who are coming from science background, and then there are people who are coming from social background. For example, I went to social science department. My background is English language and literature. If you'll ask me to code something, I can code, but I hate coding. You know what I mean? I have written 800 lines of code. I made it work. But when it was done, I was really happy that I'm not going to visit that back again. So it depends what kind of personality you are. And the reason there is three fields that I mentioned is cybersecurity is growing, and there is a very big money lost in this because of the hackers. Companies are panicking and they are hiring more people. And per the statistics, by 2020, which we are already in, they will need millions of new cybersecurity professionals. The entry level for all jobs are similar. Once you gain your normal knowledge from college or self-educated or self-taught or online or boot camps, it does not matter. As long as you have certain level of entry level knowledge, you can start in all these three levels. If you are in software development, your entry level skill is programming language. Once you learn the programming language, then you need to learn all the tools that comes with it, the framework, the platform, everything that you need to add up to this. And then if you are in data science, your entry level job is data analyst, just basic person who collects data and makes charts. That usually does not require a skill. As long as you love working with data, as long as you love making different charts, coming up with results, making reports, making sure your boss is happy, your VPs, all the CFOs, they are happy, you can start from there and grow into data science, which will require one programming language because you need to automate your data pulling process. You have terabytes of data. You need to be able to pull it from that data source and then beautifully view it for your presenters.
I just to back that up, actually, I know several, well, a friend of mine, a PhD with a PhD in physics, is getting into data science right now. I've heard a lot of PhDs from physics, natural sciences, and engineering who go into data science. So I'm just saying, like, it really depends on the person and their skills and their preferences.
Yeah, that's right, definitely. So depending on your character, depending on your skill set, companies will always help you to grow that way. For example, my first job, my second job was a Linux engineer level 1. I was working in under operations team. It was very busy and stressful environment. But after 1 year, my manager offered me to become an assistant manager. And then after a few months, I was officially managing 10 Linux engineers, and I became a manager for IT people. You know what I mean? So once you get into this, companies will help you out to find a best job for you based on your skills, behavior, and then you will definitely find your way.
Sounds good.
Any questions? Can we move on?
Yes, please.
Good, great. So now let's concentrate on some statistics. So this statistic is a little old. It was done back in 2014 based on my research. So this is talking about the grads by 2020 who already graduated back in May, the COVID grads, let's call them. And then the jobs that will be available in the market. As you can see at the first graph, the yellow one is showing 140,000, almost 140,000 available jobs by 2020, and then only 40,000 graduates from computer field in all US colleges. Can you imagine? This year, US colleges gave 40,000 IT professionals, but in the job market, there is 100,000 more available jobs. So they are 100,000 behind. Back in 2017, all universities combined and all boot camps combined, the statistic says this: the boot camps were able to place over 100-some thousand people for high-paying jobs. High-paying jobs starts from 80,000 per year, but colleges were not able to place even half of it. The reason behind is colleges are not teaching up-to-date trending technologies, but boot camps are.
So one question, just to clarify, when you say colleges that couldn't hit that margin, you mean colleges producing IT professionals or just overall colleges, including biologists and historians and things like that?
Only IT.
Just IT, boot camps were more successful. Wow.
Yes. Back in 2017, IT boot camps were more successful. They are still successful for 3 years now. The reason behind is they, for example, if you go to any kind of top level IT boot camp in US, they are teaching the technology that is being used by Amazon, by Google, by Apple. When that person is coming out of boot camp, that person already knows all the technologies that Google is hiring for. That person is new, zero experience out of boot camp. The other person came out of college with 4 years of education, new, zero experience. They have the same level. The only thing is diploma. This person has a
Well,
diploma. This
So
person.
you're opening a can of worms here, so that
no, like why would people go spend 4 years, and colleges are expensive. They're much more expensive than boot camps, right? For 4 years when you sum it up.
plus
Why
COVID,
would
right?
they?
Plus with the COVID that you don't have to go to campus, right? So with a boot camp, you can sit home with a camp, right? You can do everything like remotely. So
That's right. This is very, how to say, crazy topic that people will agree or disagree. I really respect people who are going to college. I myself went to college for 5 years, and then I tried to do my master's degree and I dropped out. But I agree with Jack Ma. I think the Alibaba's owner, you can find his video and he says, today we are practicing 200-year-old education system and this is going to fail. And he says, he actually warns us, if you do not teach your kids with the future skills, they will be out of jobs after 30 years because after 30 years, computers are growing so fast, they will take over all the jobs. And he suggests to send our kids to schools where they can create the art, the music, you know what I mean? Where people can really use their cognitive mind to create new things that computer cannot. That's what his suggestion, and I do agree with him. And as you can look at other diagrams right here in engineering, there are more grads than jobs. In
Right here,
physical
I know
science,
that.
more grads than jobs. Life science, like almost like 5 times more than grads and only ones like jobs. Mathematics, uh, like almost double the grads and less jobs. I can give one example on this math people. Back in 2008, we all know there was a financial crisis. Those years, there were thousands of actuary people who went to the actuary because they were paying around 80 to 100K back in 2010. It was a really high paying job, and a lot of people decided to go to that field. Today, there are a lot of actuary people, but not enough jobs because risk management companies have one or two people. It's not like IT team, you need like tens of people. You know what I mean? So
But I thought actuaries still make good money. Isn't it still considered to be like a high paying job in general?
it is. I'm not disagreeing on that. I'm disagreeing on the number of people who went to that field.
Oh.
Because there are a lot of people who went to that field who are struggling to find a job. Personally, I have a friend who did a master's degree on actuary, and he ended up not being able to find a job, and he went into data science because he has the matching skills.
Yeah.
Now he's doing data science in IT.
Interesting. Yeah, as an engineer, I can attest that in terms of finding jobs, finding placements, chemical engineering is very versatile. You can go into so many fields: plastics, life sciences, pharmaceutical, as I'm in. Even with that versatility, it wasn't easy to find a job. It was pretty difficult with hundreds of applications. And I've seen, I know people in IT, DevOps, QA testing. It was a lot easier for them. So it's it's not statistics. It's personal anecdote, of course. It shouldn't affect anything. But I agree with these graphs fully.
I think with if once you talk about boot camps, that's going to be an interesting part. Where students going to probably benefit a lot more because they will understand. Okay, I'm excited. What's next? What's next? Tell me. So
yeah, why not? I would like to add one more thing though, since we talked about education, being educated, high degree education. So I have a diploma. It's not a problem for me, but there are a lot of people in US and in other countries who are just high school graduates. They don't have further high degree education. Fortunately, the US government, Apple, Google, Facebook, and several other big companies announced that they will stop requiring diplomas going forward. They will only pay attention to skills. So this will actually encourage more people to take technical skills rather than college degree. And again, I'm not against education, but I'm actually against the wasted time. You are going to the college for 4 years, and at the end of the college year, you are like, you don't know the market knowledge. I have several people that I know who are going to the college in the US in computer science. I reviewed their syllabus. To be honest, I was ashamed. Like, are you guys like spending entire semester on computer history? You can Google it and watch 5-minute video. That's it. This is a waste of a time. And I don't disrespect them. They are kind of learning it in detail, but no one cares. If you go to Google's technical interview, they're not going to ask those. That's why I am on the side of the learning skills and taking technical certificates rather than going for a 4-year college.
So Gulshanbek, you're making some friends and some enemies by saying this,
I can answer.
you can live with that, right?
Yeah. My next slide will help my enemies to understand me. So
there we go. These
in
are
this
numbers.
slide, as you can see, there are best high-paying IT jobs of the future. And this is research is coming from Business Insider. Most of us know that and follow. As you can see, from 2018 to 2028, in 10 years, there will be 241,000 more application software developer need in the market. So this is the statistic. And then the average salary is 107,000. That's the average. It could be the starting, and then it goes up. And in 10 years, this will definitely boost. For IT managers, it starts
average salary throughout the US, right? Because
this is US
based. San Francisco, yes. It's much higher, I'm sure, or Boston.
Of course, yes. This is average. You are right. Because in smaller cities, it's cheaper. In the San Francisco area, the living costs are higher. It goes up. This is the average. And for IT managers, around 146,000 per year. And as you can see, the growth is almost 46,000. So there will be more jobs added up. Computer systems analyst, again, this is the entry-level job for new grads who can start from here. It could be any type of operation engineers, technical support, troubleshooting, all those types of jobs. And as you can see, salary is 90K, which is great. And there is growth is 56,000 as well. System software, same thing. Entry-level jobs, 88K, and there will be more growth, 42,000. IT support specialists starts from 50,000, and there will be 70,000 job growth in next 10 years. Information security analyst, as you can see, this is the cybersecurity related job, and the starting salary is 100K. When you compare to cybersecurity jobs to other ones, there will always be 15,000 to like a $20,000 more salary for those people. The reason behind is you are doing a very risky job and you have to be on top of your job and you need to be really technical on that.
So all this, just a question to clarify, I guess, all these numbers in terms of job openings, these are in the context of what you were showing in the previous slide, right? Where you were showing that the shortage of the specialist, the need for IT specialists versus the amount of, IT graduates that have been produced by colleges and universities, correct? So these are the numbers.
The predictions are coming from different types of already announced projects. Let's say I'm working for an insurance company, and that insurance company is expanding their offices in new countries. You know what I mean? Based on that, they predict certain number of new hires. It's coming from there. And then as IT is growing, as we are planning to launch into the moon, SpaceX is growing. You know what I mean? Once we go to the moon, there will be new types of food distribution companies. There will be new types of jobs, and that keeps growing. For example, I can give you one example. we have smart homes, right? Most of the people in the US, they have Alexa in their house. Uh, in less than 5 years, I can assure you that cybersecurity insurance will be required for your house, because hackers will hack you and they can do anything they want in your house. Because of that, there will be a new type of insurance, monthly payment. And this kind of thing, you can give like thousands of examples which are creating new jobs for IT.
That makes sense.
Very interesting.
Okay,
yeah. we got the numbers, so we got the motivation high now.
This is our average, yeah. As you can see, you can keep growing on that too. I can share one personal thing on my own career. When I got my first job, it was very entry level, and then my manager promoted me, and he gave me 16% increase. It was really good because in my company I worked for 3 years, the first company, and every single year I was getting 3 to 5% increase.
Yeah.
When I became a manager, there was 16% increase. After I became a manager, I received an offer from different company, and that company offered me, they doubled my salary.
Oh, wow.
So I wasn't expecting that. They even didn't ask how much I was making at that point. IT is really competitive regarding the money. They don't care because they want to make sure their customers are happy with good people who can take care of them. As long as you are skilled and you are really good in IT field and you are subject matter expert on certain field, the money is not the problem. The starting salary for professionals in IT starts from 90, and there is no limit.
Cool.
Okay, one more research from Career Karma. They listed some top trending titles that are trending in the market that are in need. So starting from the top, it's artificial intelligence, machine learning engineer, data science, information security analyst, software engineer, computer research scientist, data analyst again, IT manager, database admin, a web developer, computer hardware architect, computer systems analyst, DevOps engineer, computer network architect, Java developer, tech sales, PHP, Python, network, mobile application developer, and web designer. So these are like trending titles in the market. And for those of you who are looking to what to do, we had a conversation earlier with Brother Anwar regarding this on a QA, and we had a conversation on this. I would definitely recommend every single person to research the IT field, and then compare that research results with your behavior, with your skills, with your critical thinking, ability to take that information properly, and at the same time enjoying that. Because I have a saying, I always keep saying this, it's more important than picking a couple, like picking a someone to marry to spend your life with. It's more important than that because you will spend, let's be honest, right? With your wife or your husbands, you spend maximum 10 hours of active hours, right? You come home, food is ready, eat, speak for 10 minutes, then done, right? For entire week, if you combine that, it's not 10 hours. But with your job, you spend like 40 hours, 40 active hours. And then if you hate it, man, it's disastrous.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Well, our families might be watching this, so yeah, I'll be pretty careful around the edges here.
and we will not cut this part. We'll make sure it's there, you know.
Oh no.
Okay.
Honesty is good. They should know that.
No, it's important. I think it's important to keep the balance in life, right? In terms of, we all have kids. I mean, some people have kids, some people may not. But it's important that, you know, whether they are married, whether they have girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, it's important to do well in your career. You need to have a good balance. Otherwise, you cannot go one way.
Yep.
That's going to destroy you mentally. So we want to make sure that that's clearly understood. So
Of
especially
course,
for the young
as long
generation.
as you are happy at work, the rest will be clear and happy, right? That's why I'm like, when you are picking a career, you shouldn't be picking a software developer if you hate coding like me. I hate doing that. If I'm gonna pick that job every single day, I will return home and happy and destroy the rest of the family's mood, right?
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, it is an important choice. Yeah, definitely.
One more thing that we should consider is unemployment. As you can see, before the pandemic, it was the lowest that we have seen for over 40, 50 years, I believe. 3.5 was met back in 50s or 60s, I think. Unfortunately, pandemic came in and it crashed the market. As you can see, from March, it dropped and we have seen the highest in April, 14.7. But slowly it's gaining a power back. Currently in October, we have seen 6.9, and November results should come up soon. It's dropping, which means hiring is going up. The hiring market woke up slowly. Before the holidays and before they close the entire year, all the recruiting companies will do their best to close the project. I don't know if you know the other side of the story. So at the company level, they have certain aims, certain goals, and certain budget that is given for the entire year. If they don't spend that money at the end of the year, they will take it as a profit and your project is over. Because of that, most companies know that they are going to run out of the money at the end of the year. So they will do their best to hire people before they will run out of that money. Because of the pandemic and since we were not able to hire on time, now they are resuming it. So November and December is going to be crazy busy. If you are in the market, I will suggest to review your resumes and go into the market because they will do their best to close their openings before Christmas. That being said, I would like to talk about a few technologies. If you have any questions, we can go before this regarding.
No, this is
great.
Okay, good. So now let's talk about the fastest growing tech skills. This research is from 2014 to 2019. And most of the IT people, if you are listening to us, will agree with me. So this is the data taken from techrepublic.com. If you have interest, you can go and check for more details. So on the top, we have Docker. Docker has grown 4,162%. This is incredible.
Is that a platform language? What is it? Like, I'm not an IT person.
This is a microservices platform.
Microservices.
Docker, let me tell you a story behind Docker. So Docker's CEO, when they created Docker, they went bankrupt and the CEO had to go. They brought in the new CEO and they gave him all what they have. And the new CEO was a really brilliant person. And he said, you know what? I'm just going to give it away. The Docker software was put on the market as an open source. Open source in IT world means free.
Yeah.
So they spent tens of years, and because of that spending, they lost a lot of money. But the new CEO, he came and he said, I'm just going to give it away. He gave it away. Once he gave it away, all the companies really liked it. They started using it. And when a lot of calls started coming in on how to get a support, blah, 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 CEO said, okay, we are selling support. Boom. They have grown 4,000%. That's crazy.
So it's open source software development platform that's being supported by the company. That's how they make money.
Yeah, you can say this is a SaaS, software as a service, just like an application. They just gave it away and then people enjoyed it. It's a really powerful tool. And now a lot of companies are using it and it's growing.
Just one sentence, I guess, question on that. What industries use this most?
Any.
Really?
Yeah, let me give you one example. So in like 10 years ago, Walmart was a commercial industry, right? Like they sold stuff.
Yeah.
Amazon was a commercial industry.
Merchandise. Yeah.
McKesson is a medical industry, right? Deloitte is a consulting industry, blah, blah, blah. But in today's world, every single company is an IT company. It doesn't matter what they sell, what kind of service they give, they are an IT company. Because of that, IT is growing. Before, for example, brother Anwar, he's saying he's in medical field, and he was only applying for medical companies, right?
Yeah, pharmaceutical, yeah.
Yeah. Now, I am an IT guy. I can apply to pharmaceutical company. I can apply for medical company, finance, insurance, agriculture, Caterpillar, who makes tractors. It doesn't matter because every single company today's world, they are IT company and they use servers, which use software, which use applications, which use cloud, data center, everything. So the list of the technology goes as IoT, it's Internet of Things, all the things that we use, which is connected to the internet, has grown almost 2000%. Ansible, this is a configuration management tool which helps to automate your IT infrastructure, to deploy, to send code, all the different configurations. It has grown to 1200%. Kafka, 1200. Azure, Microsoft Azure, 1100. Spark, AI, Redshift, Swift, machine learning, and it keeps growing.
So for someone starting a career in IT, this basically means if you can pick up some of these, for example, some skills with Docker, Ansible, Azure, you'll be in good shape. These are good things to put on your resume, right?
Yeah, depending on your field, these are certain tools that will help you to complete your job. Some of them are platforms, some of them are technical tools, some of them are automation tools, some of them are entire cloud platforms, some of them are programming related, some of them are engineering, DevOps related tools, and some of them are database related tools. It depends what field you are coming from, but whatever field you are from, if you know enough of infrastructure of IT, you will always be comfortable. Doesn't matter if you are a data science, if you are a software developer, if you know information about the infrastructure, you are a very strong person. Now let's talk about the technologies that are being on the sharpest decline since like 2014 to 19. Clojure, 80%, EGB, servlets, JCP, Solaris is one of the operating system, 68% decline. Flash, most of us know Flash, I think. HP, Quality Center, Windows XP, it's always gone. WebLogic is one of the popular ones since still most of the companies are using it. XHTML, it's old. Clearance, what else is Ajax, I think more of the software programs know that. So as you can see, these tools were trending back in 2010, like just 10 years ago. As you can see right now, they are in decline. What I'm trying to prove here is in IT field, the technology will never stay forever. If you learn something, it doesn't mean you will live with this forever. You can still find companies who are using it, who wants to keep you, but trust me, if the management changes, if CIO changes, and he says, we are switching to different tool, you are out of job. That's why you have to make sure that you are updating your skills, learning new skills, trending skills, which will always increase your salary and bonus. When I was consulting my students, I was always like, hey, you know what? This new tool, I'm just going to give, for example, Kubernetes. You can learn this in 1 week. If you will learn it, your salary is going to increase minimum from $5,000 to $10,000 when you are applying for a new job. You know what I mean?
That for 1 week.
Yeah, like it's easy. Today's technologies, as long as you have the base knowledge, the rest you'll build it on top of it. As long as you keep learning and adding on top of it, then you'll be fine. And any questions for you? I think it's time to talk about boot camps.
Yep. Now that we hyped up about this.
All right, let's see if it's gonna benefit anyone. So that being said, I already expressed my feelings about education. If you are in US or anywhere in the world, I will definitely suggest to learn IT in boot camps because you don't have to waste your 4 years. So in the screen, I have Coding Dojo, General Assembly, Cybertech, Modis, Evolve Cyber, Davix School, Evolve Security, Metis. So these are the ones that I personally know that some people went to it, some people really succeeded. It's like data science, coding, QA that you mentioned earlier, and then cybersecurity. Evolve Security down here is located in Chicago. Evolve Security is #1 in the nation. If you want to learn cybersecurity, they have a 6 months boot camp where they provide financing as well. If you need financing, they work with banks. And then the great thing about them is if you are top 5 student in the class, they will help you to place you in a job because they work with top cybersecurity companies who hire directly from them.
So one question, for universities, there's usually SAT, some sort of requirements, right? You need to have your high school diploma, some SAT or ACT score. For these boot camps, what is the expectation?
The prerequisite is money.
That's pretty clear. Okay.
Yeah, to be honest, most of the boot camps, they will definitely require very little understanding of some knowledge, and most of them are just asking to bring in your computer. That's it. And they will train you. But here's the thing though, it doesn't mean every single person is gonna succeed once you sign up for it. You have to do your due diligence, research accordingly, find out which field is gonna match for your background and your technical skills. As long as you know yourself, as long as you can tell, hey, you know what, this is the field that I wanna go, then you are gonna succeed. Do not go to certain boot camp just thinking that your friend got a job, so I can do that too. No, your friend is smarter than you. We never know, or he's luckier than you. Maybe God is smiling more to him than you. You know what I mean? So you have to do your due diligence.
So you said the main prerequisite is money. So let's talk money. So I'm kind of assuming that for 6 months boot camp, you will probably end up paying less than a 4-year college. I kind of assume usually that is the case because colleges, yeah. But
so
still,
how much we're talking, right?
No, it's probably difficult to say, right? There's so many of them, different tiers.
Yeah,
regarding
the boot camps, they are starting from the cheapest would be I think 4,000 or 5,000, and it will go up
per month or the entire
for the entire boot camp. But again, depending on the program, depending on the service that they are going to provide to you, it will go to the average is $10,000 average. The cheapest is 4,000, and then it goes up to 15 to 20,000. The great thing is I wasn't able to put it here. There is a lot of government provided free boot camps. You just sign up for it, and if you are legal in this country, if you have any green card and you are a green card holder, there are a lot of government programs. They are affiliated with the government that provide IT courses, network related and different types of boot camps. You just need to fill out their application and it will be free for you. You can do that too. But regarding the quality and the knowledge, I don't know how qualitative they are.
So you can find them just by Googling your location. For example, I live in Massachusetts. You think there are government boot camps here for sure?
Of course, yes. And I will try to find that after the podcast. I'll try to give you the links if anyone is interested. That's interesting portion of IT as well. And one more thing, when you are signing up for bootcamp, always make sure what you are getting for what you pay, because they have certain syllabus, they have certain services. Some boot camps just teach you and then that's it. Some boot camps will do career coaching. They help you to make up your online presence, create your LinkedIn profile, write your resume, write your cover letter, teach you how to go through the interview process, create the mock interview environment, invite people from the real market so that you can talk to them, make a networking events. So these are all services. Once you pay money, you have to demand what they need to deliver to you. So since some boot camps are working with hundreds of students, they will forget the weak people. And most of us will end up
So,
being weak person in the group. And we are like, oh, this is not for me. You shouldn't give up just like that.
so one question is, I have a question, and sorry guys, just a question. So back in 2000, late, 8, 9, 10 rounds after financial area, crisis area time, it was very, it was very difficult if you have no experience, right? You finish school, you have no experience. It was very difficult to get into the market, right? I mean, into the job market, meaning, you had a lot of a lot of places would require you to have a degree plus experience, 3 years or 4 years, 5 years. Boot camps were not the thing that's, that can be like heard and seen right now as now, right? Boot camps are not popular. So now that things have changed, boot camps are everywhere, and these are some of the boot camps out there that are popular. What is like, if you were to give a rough guess, right? What is the percentage of graduates that are getting out there into the jobs without really having a experience, with just a boot camp, with a, you said some, like from Evolve Security, I know you said, they take directly. So, but what is general, like ratio? What is the ratio of people getting jobs straight from boot camps versus still needing to have some kind of experience, maybe not related to what they want to, but still experience?
So from the statistic wise, boot camps are really hiding their details because they have policies, which is written with a very small letters, as you know, no one reads them. If you don't show up for a class, don't do our projects, if you don't come to our events, you're automatically dropped. So based on that, they drop more than 50% of their students, and then they do their statistics based on the remaining successful 50% of their students. You know what I mean?
That's interesting.
Which I don't blame them. So based on that, their success rate is over 70, 80%, which means after filtering everyone out, of course, your results will be really high. And it's their right to do that because that student didn't listen to them. They didn't show up for class or they didn't do the project on time. But that being said, it's really hard to get a job in IT. I know there are a lot of companies who are hiring. If you don't have experience, that's another challenge that you're facing with. You need to have certain level of entry-level experience or at least the technology or technical certificates to make sure that you can pass the interview. The IT market is very competitive. You cannot define it with one word. You cannot say if you don't have experience, you cannot find a job, or you need to have minimum 5 years of experience. It's never a law. My manager who hired me, I asked him, hey, there's one guy who's with 10 years of experience. There's a guy with 0 years of experience, but with certificates. Which one you want to hire? He said the new guy with certificates and technology. Because I don't want to work with a guy whose glass is full of water. I cannot put anything on top of it. I want to hire someone new, train him, and then just he's going to follow what I'm going to say because he's new. He's willing to learn. And one more great thing that I'm going to suggest from my personal experience, I am coming from English language and literature department, and I converted into IT, and that education is on my resume with big letters. This background is always helping me. I'm using it this way. Hey, you know what? I'm coming from English language and literature. I changed my career and I'm a learner. I'm a fast learner. I like learning new technology. This is what hiring managers are liking. And they're like, yes, we want to hire you. They don't want to hire a geek person or overqualified person who is going to leave the company after 1 year. This is the advantage that most of the graduates who are coming out of bootcamp are getting a job because they are willing to learn. They are willing to jump on it even though they don't have the experience.
I have another question. So when you look at this from a perspective of an immigrant, let's say someone who came from Eastern Europe, from Poland, let's say in mid-30s, and they had some other job back at home. Now they won the green card lottery, let's say, and they want to get into these boot camps, but they have a family, maybe kids, they have to work. Is it possible? Do any of these boot camps provide like evening learning opportunities or learning on weekends so that they can actually manage, working full time somewhere just to sustain themselves and also get this sort of certificate?
Yeah, they as far as I know, almost 90% of them are after hours, starting from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. They know that people are working, they are making lives. As you know, in the United States, it's impossible to do it without working. But my suggestion would be, if you are already working, try to make some savings. And when you are going to these boot camps, you have to really concentrate and work less, or at least like work 3 days and study 4 days. Otherwise, it's not a game. People are getting job because they are sitting on it, they are spending time, they are learning it. It's not easy. You cannot just learn it by not paying attention or by not giving enough time for this. It's not easy. So that being said, I would like to concentrate on a few more things from the statistics that's coming from different sites. So CIO.com is my source. I really like it. It's mostly the IT news. I suggest anyone who wants to learn more. So as you can see, there's...
Is it a company, CIO? Sorry.
This is some kind of magazine, I think. They do a lot of IT related... as you see, it's Chief Information Officer. They took that.
Okay. Okay.
So they made the top 10 coding bootcamps in the US. And here is the list of it. If anyone is interested in going to the coding bootcamps, here they are. The number one is Ironhack, App Academy, General Assembly. General Assembly has various types of bootcamps, and they are one of the top in the nation. They have a lot of locations, so you can go to General Assembly and find out more types of bootcamps. Blog, Thinkful, Flatrun School, the Tech Academy, Hack Reactor, Tech Talent South, Epicodus. And then the next one is, there are different types of boot camps as well. If you are interested, you can just Google it and you will find. But here, I would like to concentrate on self-motivators. There are a lot of people who wants to do it on their own. So rather than paying $10,000 or $15,000 to boot camps, I would like to learn it on my own. If you are that person, then why not? Because all of the online learning platforms created beautiful platforms that you can learn it on your own. So my favorite, the first one that I have on my own for several years, is Linux Academy. It costs $379 per year. The great thing about Linux Academy is they have Azure, AWS, all the platforms that you can spin up new VM, create your code, push it, do all the technical work and in one website. And it has all the classes, it has all motivational steps that will remind you what to do. For example, it will say, I have 3 hours per week, and here are my open windows. You can put that in the system and it will remind you every single time you have to do it, and you will go there and you will do your class. So it's really good. Udemy, most of us already know this. Pluralsight is also a good one. edx.com, Coursera, Code Academy, LinkedIn Learning, which is new. They actually acquired lynda.com and they put it under LinkedIn Learning. Allison.com, Class Central, Harvard University free online class. So as you can see, there's 3 free ones, Allison.com, Class Central, and Harvard University one. And of course, I forgot to put YouTube. is number one too. That you can find a lot of classes online.
So one question, Gulshanbek, let's say, an immigrant went to these courses, they finished, so they probably get a certificate at the end. Should they put that on their resume? Does it help to find jobs if they put that on their resume?
So
does it not affect?
Yeah, that's a great question. People confuse with real certificate to the course certificates. No one cares about your course because you can take hundreds of courses, complete them, but you understand nothing. You know what I mean? Don't post those on your LinkedIn. If you want to post something, then prepare for a real certificate. Take that and post that on LinkedIn. That's the way.
What do you mean by real certificate?
So when you go to Linux Academy, there is a AWS course, which is like 10 hours. You complete it, and then they give you a certificate of Linux Academy for completing AWS classes. That's not AWS certificate though. That's for watching 10 hours of videos. No one is gonna give you that's not a real cert. That's a joke. So that's why, I mean, if you want to take a real certificate, for example, AWS has a lot of certificates based on the levels. Go to that, take that exam, pass it, and then they will give you a certificate, and then you post it. That's the difference.
So those certificates from AWS or Java, for example, I think they have some sort of certification for.
Yeah, Oracle has a Java certificate.
Yeah, Oracle. So those certificates do help with landing jobs?
Of course, yes. Let me stop sharing. My presentation is over, so we can talk more by looking at each other. So all of those technical certificates will definitely help you to find a job, depending on the level of the certificate. There are a lot of easy ones. There are a lot of hard ones. For example, let's say VMware certification is really hard to get. If you have a VMware certificate and when you go to the interview and the guy who is interviewing you for almost 90% wouldn't have that certificate. So he's going to be a little bit ashamed to ask questions on VMware because you already nailed the hardest exam out there. You have it. He's going to respect you. You know what I mean? He's going to take easy on you. And at least he's going to respect you at first sight before even asking questions. But it's not the rule number one. If you don't have a certificate, you're not going to get a job. That's not true. Personally, I have 0 certificates. I don't like taking exams. So rather, I will answer their technical questions. I will show what kind of experience I have, and I'll get a job. It depends.
Well, this was very informative. And as I said in the beginning, we expect this topic to be visited several times because this is a huge thing, especially for immigrants starting from scratch. It's very difficult to find your way. And when there is a specific field that's booming, it's been booming for tens of years. I don't know how many. That's very important. So thank you very much, Gulshanbek. I think this was very, very informative. We might bother you again in the future.
It was my pleasure, and I'm really hoping that it will help out someone who is trying to make a change in their career. And I will definitely recommend to most of the immigrants who are new in this country trying to find their way, because I have been there. I came to this country after working only 2 months. My wife was here. So I went through that hard times. There was times that I wasn't able to buy diapers. You know what I mean? There was times I wasn't able to bring food to the table. So it was really hard. And I understand there are thousands of people who are going through this. And shortest and easiest way for you would be IT. It will be not easy. It will take some time. But as long as you are really firm on that and you believe in yourself and you want to do that change, then just follow your dream. Hundreds of people, even thousands of people are already getting into this and enjoying the life. The great thing is once you start it, it will keep growing. You're not going to stay there forever. I have changed 3 jobs in less than 5 years, and I have grown. And as I already said, I doubled my salary. the benefits kept growing. If you use 401k or investing account, everything will keep growing. Yeah, thank you again for listening.
Gulshanbek, those are wonderful words. Wonderful piece of advice at the end. Encouraging, really. I felt like I was an immigrant, just came to US, and those words made me actually myself motivate. I'm like, okay, I should follow what he's saying. So definitely, we appreciate your time. It was really pleasure talking to you. Presentation was great. And for the listeners, in case anybody has questions, we'll make sure we'll get Gulshanbek's information, contacts posted. It's going to be available on our YouTube page, Facebook page, everywhere else we post. You should be able, if they have any questions, of course, you can reach out to Gulshanbek, and he will hopefully guide you. And that does not mean you have to be in Chicago or anything, close, but hope internet is there, so he can help you out wherever you go.
Please do subscribe. We need subscribers to actually continue doing this. We promise to have even more interesting episodes in the future on IT, on anything. So please do subscribe. Otherwise, you can miss it. And it's a big deal to miss these kind of episodes.
Yes, subscribe to Facebook, our Facebook page, our YouTube. And we have, of course, podcasts as well. For those who are listening, watching, you can watch it, you can see it, but also there's people listening. So we have podcasts on Apple, Spotify, anywhere else you're listening to podcasts. So just subscribe, provide your comments, share, help your families, help you people you know. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching.
Yeah, any platform you log in, social sites, just Google, search for Immigrant Bazaar, and you'll find us. Thank you for listening and watching.
Until next time. Thank you. Have a great one.
Thank you, Gulshanbek.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you, Immigrant Bazaar.
Thank you.